Well, hello, 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 my friends. How are you? I hope that you're doing well tonight. It is good to see that you have decided to join me here for tonight's webcast. A time to think, a time to think. That's what I'm going to call this one. And I hope that you can take the time and do some critical thinking along
Do
with me.
some critical thinking.
All right, let me turn that down. I don't want any feedback to come in and to disturb me. This is PJ. I'm still hanging around here. Tommy, my friend, is still there, growing immensely. I take my pain medicine to keep the pain down as much as I can. But I thought that I wanted to talk with you a little bit about um, a time to think. And what I'm trying to say is think nowadays before you speak. Thinking before one speaking. Oh, what am I going to premise this on? Oh, and I'm sorry, the beard. I know I need to shave again. Sometimes I shave it on, it's off. My hair is coming back. I had it all shaved back. It's coming back. I had a visitor Sunday after he left his church service. Xerix came by to visit me. He brought along dinner, marvelous salad, a few chicken wings, and a potato salad and fruit drink. I know I shouldn't eat so much high cholesterol stuff, but my doctor tells me it doesn't matter, John. Eat whatever you want. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to fulfill my desires in that way. I want to thank many of you that have written and wish me the best. I'm glad. I am, let me see, how am I doing? Because a lot of people don't know how to wait a minute, let me do this. I'm looking for, here it is. A lot of people don't know how to ask someone that may be suffering from malady of having a cancerous tumor, and a lot of people don't know how necessarily to. There we go. I had to turn on my back light here. Yeah. Um, they don't know how to converse with me. Well, what can I say to PJ? Well, you can say it tonight. I don't know how long I'm going to talk about this, but I believe that the subject matter needs to be addressed. What I've done since you've last seen me on a YouTube live is that I've been meeting with my daughters and we've been wrapping up life's duties. And I want you to think about what I'm saying. What I mean by wrapping up life's duties, uh, make sure that everything will be in order when I shovel off this mortal coil. There are times in your family, as well as with your loved ones, that you need to make those kinds of preparations and talk with your loving family members about um, what your plans might necessarily be. I think that you should do that. I think that all of us should do that. Death should not be a squeamish subject where you're not willing to talk about it. I called a few days ago, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 days ago, and thank you for joining me tonight for the live. I called a friend of mine, Melvin Jones, a fellow apologist from the East Coast, lives in the DC area, and recently I had spoken to him, and he was in the hospital because he, like myself, is up in age, and when you get up in age and you travel all around the country doing apologetics, speaking in conferences and doing all those things. Well, I called him to see how he was doing. And because he had taken a fall, he's doing well. And he asked me how I was. I said, "Oh, me and Tommy are getting along good." And he was kind of amused by the fact that not only do I give my tumor a name, because he's growing. He's beginning to let me well, I don't have to show you the progress, but the progress of the tumor right here, the main tumor is right here, and it it about ends there, and it's very sensitive under the arm, and it's huge as compared to my right arm. You can see, and look at this one. I raised the left one. Well, that's the tumor, and I named him Tommy, as you know, because he is a part of my body. And I've had certain people that I pastored years ago in the church come to visit me. And whenever church people come to visit me, I ask a favor of them. I ask that, check this out, I ask that they not offer any prayers for me. No praying. What you praying for me for? It's time for us to think. What are you praying for me for? Wait. And if you're of a mind, I said it the last time and I'm going to say it again. This isn't going to be a very long webcast. Mark Anthony, good to see you here. If God or the you don't have to believe in Jehovah, Elohim, Yahweh. You don't have to believe in that God. Whatever God you believe in, that is the supreme creator of everything in your universe. You don't have to be a Christian. I'm not talking to Christians. But in this sense, I was speaking with Christians because since I pastored a Christian church, they came by to see me. And, I said, please, no praying for me and no crying. And I had to explain to each group that comes by why I said no praying. And it should be obvious. What are you praying for? I was hanging around the house today and a young man had to go out and take care of business. He said, come on out, John. I have to drive to Glendale. I said, man, I just want to stay here in my quarters and get on my bed and just lie back and relax while Tommy's not eating right now. And it gives me a time of peace. And he said, oh, man, come out. Well, I went out. And am I glad that I did? Because I got a chance, man, to drive from here to Glendale. And Glendale is where I used to do radio on Sunday nights. I haven't been out that way in, oh my God, years. And just to see how they built up the city is amazing. Ah, let me see. What did I do? I don't know who said that. I think I had something typed in my little thing here, and I want to erase that because I didn't say that. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now, let me see. I got to make sure I'm on track. I know what's happening. I know what's happening. I have my mic on somewhere and I need to turn it off. There it is. There it is. You see, I don't want to stop listening. I want to stop. Okay. Now let me see. Is it still on? Yeah, it's still on. I didn't take it off. Just give me a second. You guys give me a minute. I should have checked that before I came on the air today because you can say a lot of things. So let me take a break. How are you guys doing? Oh my goodness. This is terrible. I had so much stuff down here that uh it's like I'm making a dialogue of this thing and I don't know how to pause it. So let me do this. Let me go up here again. Oh, I do need a producer. I long for those days. Now, I think I've done it. Okay, I did it. Now I've got to uh there. I've done it. See all these words that I said? there, there it is. That's what I just corrected. Okay, now you can write your comments as you feel free to listen in. It's time to think. It's time to think about it. Have each of you taken any consideration of what our world looks like today? The animosity, the indifference, the what is it? Hatred, anger, vindictiveness, those kinds of things have gotten worse and worse. And I am constantly reminded when I'm out of my home and out around other people, I am constantly reminded of this kind of behavior that is more apt to take place around me than not around me. And how am I to respond whenever anxiety comes my way? I had to recently, I'll tell you this because my daughter and I, we were making out my funeral arrangements. And isn't that a lovely picture of my blossoming, blooming family? My daughter Leslie standing behind me, and her lovely daughter Alejandra, and her boo, Tommy. And we were just enjoying each other on that day. And I find it easy for my family and I to talk about things that are not difficult, but things that are necessary. Matter of fact, my niece came by to visit me, my sister's daughter, Nina. And Nina is a film student, and she wants to come by and take kind of like a film documentary. And I said, well, what would you ask this old man? There's nothing I can tell you. She's in college working on her degree. And so that when she makes films, that's one of the things that she's chosen to do. She is working out very well in the industry that she's in. and she wants to record me. And I asked her, what in God's name would you talk with your old uncle about? She's what, 33, 34, and I'm 80. I said, what? And she said, Uncle John, you have such a candor about you, a way that you can attack life with your words. You seem to be more at peace with yourself than anyone else. When Xerix came by to see me Sunday, he said, Oh, Pastor John. And I said, What is it? And he said, You look, if not better, very good for a man that has a life threatening cancer and it's in a particularly fast stage and presenting a lot of pain to you. And I said, Well, you've observed correctly. And I said, And why should anything change? See, that's why I don't want people coming over here praying for me. And I said to Zerix, What did you expect to see when you came by my house? All bent over, oh, help me and do this. Oh, yeah, I actually do something because I can barely use this left arm at all. Now, I didn't even look at the email, but there was one of my church members that I used to pastor, and they wrote me. I think it was on this system or another one. And the subject of the clip that they attached, of course, I didn't watch it, was Can a homosexual be a Christian? Well, I'd like to, if the man had the guts enough to call me and talk with me in person, I would have asked him this: Can a heterosexual be a Christian? Figure that out. Can a hetero really be a Christian? I want you to think. It's time to think. Do you allow people to create your world for you, or do you create your own world? I don't listen to another man's opinion about me. And the term homosexual doesn't shame me. You listening? It doesn't shame me. I want you to get it right. You can take Brigitte Bardot, Marilyn Monroe, and all the other black female beauty queens, Asian beauty queens, Hispanic beauty queens, put them on a stage. I'd have to walk away. Loving as human beings, yes. But heterosexual with them, no, not at all. And what I love about, listen to me now, when you listen correctly, someone sends you, if you're gay or if you're homosexual, and someone sends you a message like that over social media, they are telling you that they don't believe in you and they want to start a fight. They remind me of a Democrat or a Republican when you think that your party has all the answers for everybody else's life in this country. Doesn't make any sense. I want you to think with me. Think when someone attempts to agitate you. And now, when you get agitated and you respond too quickly, you know that could turn ugly very quickly. And when things get ugly, sometimes you lose control and you don't want things to get ugly on you like that. All right? Just think with me here. On everything that I say tonight, I want you to think about it. What annoyed you today? Nothing? No, I'm sure something did. Something annoyed you. I was talking with my friend Melvin, and he asked me how I was doing, and I mentioned about the tumor, and I said, please don't try to offer prayers for me. I'm not into that. And so I said, you may be one of those Christians that believe that if God allows you to get a tumor, that you can pray the tumor away and change God's mind. When I pastored the church, if anyone was ill and they had a recoverable disease, I'd ask them to come forward and we'd pray for them. But I've never asked anyone that is terminally ill for them to allow me to pray that God would change the direction of the terminal illness, because I just cannot fathom in my mind why God would ever do that. We're talking about a time to think. Wow, since I got this tumor, people are crazy. Well, are you thinking about where you're going? I'm not going anywhere. What do you mean, where am I going? See, don't come to me with this colonialized story that you have attached somewhere in your brain, and you're going to bring your brain twisting self to me. And please don't ask me, wait a minute, didn't you teach us to think like this? No, I didn't. I taught you that if you love God and that when He comes to get you, that He has prepared a dwelling place for you to be in the life after this life. I said nothing about where you were going and how long you're going to be there, because I don't know. I know one thing: when I leave here, I'm going to a place that shines brighter than I do, and my soul will be at home there. I can tell you why I know that. Talking with another friend of mine the other day, and he said, you know why people that are not Christians are afraid to die? I said, I don't know that that's true, because most Christians that I know are afraid to die. They can't even talk about it. And you're talking about too locked into the world. I have never been locked into materialism. I'm going to die and leave all this mess. It was wonderful. I had Xerix come by. He came and visited me Sunday, and I said, see that top row of books on that bookshelf? I said, when I pass away, they're yours. I said, as a matter of fact, you can start taking them now if you want them. Great set of commentaries. I'm not going to use them anymore. Each volume costs $50 each. Every word in the Bible transliterated in the Greek and the Hebrew. What a set of commentaries. I use them most of my ministerial life. And I told him, any book that you see in my library on the shelf, feel free to take it. And I hope that you can gain a little fruit from it. Are you like that when you think about your demise? I want to talk with you guys and gals now that call yourselves pastors. Do you feel like this? Because if you don't, you are not a pastor of the same Christ that I serve. Because if you were, you wouldn't mind saying amen, even when it's contemplating your own death. That's how powerful my faith is. Melvin said to me while he was speaking, "Gee, you're a weird man." I said, "Why am I weird?" I said, "Why would I ask God to contradict his nature and take something from me that he gave me?" I want you to think with me. It's a time to think. That's why that antiquated religion that was given to us and our forefathers has flaws in it, huge flaws. If you guys ever see me perform a funeral, did you ever see me cry at the coffin of the deceased? The only person that I cried at their coffin was my wife's. Other than that, and why did I cry there? Lucy was my wife. Oh, I miss that lady today. Because when you got a tumor like this, you gotta rub it, put ointment on it and everything. And oh, you think so? The kid was here and he said, "Hell, man." I said, "What? Time for me to give you a cut?" I said, "No, man, I like this white hair growing back." He cut it. He sure did. Took me in his car today, man. Took me driving. I love riding around this city, driving through various neighborhoods, seeing how much the city has changed. They're building up everywhere. And I thought about it, the number of people staying in Los Angeles. Can I tell you about a thought that I had? I was going to tell the persons I was in the car with what I thought because I started to laugh. And they said, "John, what is it?" And I said, "I don't know, never mind." And so one of the young men that were there played this little medical alert from this nurse that worked at a hospital, got gave some stats about some pretty serious uh, information about patients. Thank you, Mark. And I am. I'm going to live my best. Mark, why do you think people would not live their best life, even after they find out they're dying? What's wrong with that? I ain't got nothing but giant question marks. You know, Mario's visiting me for a few days, and he has a movie for me to see. And he told me not to be long because I want to go in and Who wouldn't want to do that? If I do go out, there may be some pain. I've never died with a cancer. Okay. Doctor said that it may go through the chest and get into the lungs. And he told me I got 18 months to 2 years. It may take Tommy 10 years to eat through that. And it may take him 10 months, 10 weeks, 10 days, 10 minutes, whatever. I'm predisposed to enjoying me. To my senior citizen friends out there, and I'm serious when I say this to y'all, y'all need to take this time and listen and think about some things. A friend of mine sent me an email today and he said, John, there's going to be a meeting at such and such's house. Bring your own happy beverage or a nice pot of food. And I know fire law is going to be burning. We're going to be in this man's home looking out of his backyard over the city because his house is on the top of a hill. And we are going to enjoy ourselves on Friday night. Now, I'll add this little thing to it, the Lord willing. Yes. G-Mans, good to see you. Good to see you. And, you know, I wish that I could invite all my true friends to this thing on Friday night. To drink a couple of glasses of wine. And I'm not driving, so I want to drink more than a few glasses. I want to get a little tipsy. I want to enjoy me. I want to get engaged in some nice, highfalutin philosophical conversation. It was good when Xerix came by Sunday because we just ate our lunch and enjoyed each other's company and talked about things because he was one of my students of theology. I was his professor of theology. And while we were having this conversation, James Washington, a pastor from the Dayton, Ohio area, called me, and he and I have had sharp words. You've heard me speak about that on the cast before. And I'd rather not talk with people that tries to tell me how they think I ought to live. I don't listen to people telling me how I should live. And then on the end of it, if I don't agree with what they agree with, they're going to castigate me to some colonizer's room of doom and torment for the rest of eternity because I choose not to think like them. When I speak with small minded human beings like that, I'd rather be speaking with a dead bird on the line. But anyhow, yes. Well, you know what, Mark? I hope so. And Mark, this is why I do that. Different perspectives. I like that. Yes, yes, yes. You know why I do it? Because ain't nobody else going to do it. Because ain't nobody else going to do it, man. What do people use this social media for? Look at what I can do. Look at what I got. They're going to tune me in more than tuning you in. All I said is that it's a time to think. When you listen to the arguments of the Democrats over the Republicans and vice versa, do you understand what being on the far right is all about? If you did, you wouldn't hate them so much. On the other hand, do you understand who a leftist really is? Look at Chairman Mao in China. How did he unify it? How did he unify it? That was his way to unify it. Now, both of the candidates are telling you, are you thinking with me? Both of the candidates are telling you that they have a plan. They have a plan that they are sure will work as they guide this country. And I tell you, I have to grab my pipe when I hear some of this stuff that comes through the for sure. Let's see. Mark is talking to me here. I appreciate that, Mark. I enjoy talking with you. He says that he's sure that when I was a pastor, that I wasn't asking my congregation to agree with anything, but challenge them to critically think about different things. That's all I did. I remember Fred Price was growing in popularity down the street. I said, I'm not going to talk too much about that man and ever increasing faith because he's right. You can increase your faith in God, but it don't mean you're going to change God's mind about anything. Fred, if he were alive, would possibly say to me, and if Freddie Jr. is listening, or anybody that knows the family, they know of me, you can tell them I'm speaking about Fred. Fred knew very little about his destiny, as well as the destiny of those that he was speaking to on that ever increasing fate, F A T E. And I would tell my wife, I said, I hope God lets me live longer than he. Wait a minute, not out of any spite or competing with him. I want you to think with me. Thank you, Mark. And I to you. When a person says that they know the mind of God, and I don't know what he died of, it may be on the internet. I'm not even, he's the one that could have spoken himself alive if he really had power to do it. And I'm sure that there are hundreds and possibly thousands of people who gave that ministry money and all that. I remember he was doing a lot of flying before he got his private jet on American Airlines. And he would fly. American Airlines or United, I'm not sure. But there was a young lady that used to attend um, the church that I pastored. She was a steward on the jet. And I wrote a letter because she said, Pastor John, Pastor Price, and his daughter frequents first class. And so I typed up this letter and gave it to her and said, keep it on your person. And if they ever get on the plane that you're working, ask permission to give them that. And I had it on the envelope from Pastor John Coleman. And it was when I was doing my radio presentation. And I offered to say, I'd love to have your dad because she was his, I don't know, I guess second in command. And the steward told me, yeah, she got the letter. I know she opened it. Fred read it. He wouldn't come on my radio show. Ever increasing faith. Because I would say, let's all make a deal right now and see something. And listen, you would never hear John Coleman say anything concerning the God who made creation and the whole world and all the people that live on this planet. John Coleman, me, will never say anything to defame God's name and make him a liar. God said, John Coleman. I said, what, Lord? As it is appointed unto men, and you're a part of that appointment, John, once to die. In other words, you're only going to die once. You're not going to be like these crackpots talking about they died and went to heaven and came back and they telling you about it. My Bible says you're going to die one time, one time. And after that, listen clearly. After that, now you don't have to believe in any religion. Those of you that are not religious and are not Christian, reject what you hear me saying. I'm not trying to get you saved or enlightened or anything. I can only tell you what I found in this characterization of Jesus. I tell you what I found. Man, you know what love is? Do y'all know what love is? You ain't gonna know it until you know him deep like that. Love will make a Democrat love a Republican. Love will make you love Donald Trump. Yeah, I know he's a hard cookie to swallow for many of you leftists out there, but I'm still a pastor. And you got to love him to see God. That's what my religion teaches me. How about yours if you're Islamic? What your religion teach? Hmm? And if your opponent is a Democrat, for those of you conservative minded people that think you can make America great again when she's never been that terrific from the start, because she owes a great debt to the natives of these lands, of which my family is a part of that. See, I think Martin Luther King didn't die for black people. You thinking? Who did Martin Luther King die for? Did he die for you? I got another question for you. Do you think he knew he was going to die soon? What you think? When you look at the news, you better think through that. When you hear Kamala say, bless her little heart, she reminds me of my big sister. Kamala's nice. Now, does that mean I'm going to vote Democrat? I'm not voting Democrat when I vote, nor am I voting Republican when I vote. Are you listening? And I'm going to vote, but I'm not voting for a Democrat or a Republican. Can you tell me what I'm voting for or who I'm voting for? I bet you can't because you're not thinking enough. See? Ooh, Mark, you are smart. Because Martin was a Baptist minister. He knew. He knew. But he didn't die for us. He died for a cause. Now tell me what I just said. He died for a cause. Oh my goodness. Did they write it down somewhere? I'd like to read that one. Wait a minute. Are you kidding me? Or is that true? I had no idea. Why would he say that? My goodness. Martin Luther King's next Sunday's sermon, if he had not been killed, was why America may go to hell. I got one for you. You really think Martin was a Christian that followed Christ? Would he retract any of those words today or say them differently? Or would he today not only say those words, but to express his meaning? Time to think. Because Martin Luther King was alive today, he wouldn't know America today. Oh no, no. First thing that he'd have problems with is first things that he would have. Ooh, my mind is spinning. I'm thinking about that. But somebody else is writing me. Mark, you say this. This is true. Um, it says uh, it's in Tavis Smiley's Death of a King, which focused on the last 2 years of his life. Uh, it sounds like it. I'm going to have to read more these days. And Gmar says that he thought that it was the best way to read. Oh, wait a minute. He preached in the Black Baptist Church. He knew he wasn't going to be. Wait a minute. No, 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 no. Wait a minute. Let me deal with this. If Martin knew, have you ever been in a staff meeting with a? I'm not talking about black people. With the African American Negro, you're gonna be in a staff meeting, and you all looking for a solution to do something. All right. And while you're looking for a solution to do something, another man in the meeting don't like your thing. Instead of him using parliamentary procedure, he's going to say, Mother, Father, Sister, Brother, shut your GT mouth. Ruckus starts. Now, I'm just speaking. I know black people. Martin Luther King didn't die for no black people. I got to tell him. I got to tell. Ooh, God just told me to tell you. Martin Luther King was a Baptist minister. He'd come to Los Angeles to preach. This was told to me by a very wife of a famous man that ran um, the 5-4 ballroom on 54th and Broadway in Los Angeles, California. The woman that told me this is that man's wife because she knew that uh, when Martin Luther King came to town, she was a part of that group that ran with him. And she said, I know for sure. She laughed at me when she heard that I was a minister. And she said, Oh, you. And she said, Do you know anything about Martin Luther King? And I said, Yeah, he's a great uh, civil rights humanitarian for the. And she said, Let me tell you, when the preacher was out doing a revival and Martin would come into town, he'd go by that woman's house and she could mention all the ministers' wives that Martin came here and was screwing with. Y'all listening to me? You listening to me? He didn't die for you. That boy wanted him some poontang. What's the matter with you? And I know that's a great burden on your shoulders, just like every great man of history in every culture. Don't think I'm just talking bad about African American male leaders. Look at the mother. Look at Clinton. What did he do in the Oval Office? Where's Monica? Huh? I smoke cigars. Is that right? Don't play with me. Wait a minute. Let me read the line and see what's going on here. Okay. Yeah, man, I got to read that book. Oh, yeah, wait a minute. G Mars had a message up and then he took it off. He retracted the message. G Mars, you got to put that message back. You're not right. No, but I may go back and read it. Mark Anthony says, real. It says, better yet, I'll bring the book over so you can read it when I visit. Good. Darn it. Good. Because I want to read that. Okay. That was my answer. No. If he truly believed in Christianity. I respect Martin for being a man, for being human, but he is not on the level of love that lifted me up. Number one, I've never thought as a slave. I was never treated like one. I was called the N word. I was denied jobs, positions, laughed at by white people. I asked for direction, and when I was a teenager, they give me the wrong direction to go. After I leave and start walking in that way, they saw me stop and they bellowed out with a laugh. You know how? Ooh, that hurt me. Yeah. I believe that let me tell you the truth, man, and I've never really done this. What I'm doing is I'm pondering Martin before that bullet tore in his head. I'm pondering What could he have been going through? And could God have said to him, "Are you ready? Because you've completed my task." And if he was ready, and if he indeed complete the task that God gave him to do, then he was a believer. I'm just thinking about it. I don't think he was trying to rectify all the rights that was done to us by whites. I think what he was trying to say historically, just like Malcolm, what a mind that was, huh? It appears that during that time, God was speaking with a lot of my contemporaries. Most black leaders thought like those guys, and we look to them. Now, here's America. You got Republicans and Democrats. Time to think. Time to think about it. Think with me. Why can't they pull together and do what's best for the country since they both got plans? Why can't the Democratic and the Republican senators in every state work together as one team for one aim, for one objective? Why can't each of the candidates take suggestions from the other candidate as how to make America whatever they want to do it? Why can't they do that? You know why? Because they will not adopt the doctrine of love in their hearts. And for any of you that know what love is, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly. And well, Malcolm X, yes. Thank you, Mark Anthony. You know why? See, do you know why he said that? Because there's only one reason. If you really take time to think about it, you're talking about one of the same persons. There's no difference. One group has money, the other group doesn't. The other group has power, the other group is powerless. Opposites. There shall always be opposites on this planet. How are you going to solve the problem of indifference if you don't love each other? Now, if America pulls herself up by her bootstraps, she'll be able to do that. If she is not able to do that, she's going to be flushed down the toilet very soon. I'm not going to talk more than an hour. There was no difference between them. And you have to know that. And if you sucked up into this game, it's like I'm watching a quiz show on television when I watch politics. Oh, why did I expect Kamala to answer that way? Why do I expect uh, JD, the VP, select by Trump? That young man is too smart to be saying some of the dumb shit that he is saying. I look at that boy say that, and I said, some people just don't care how deep they go to take advantage of another person not understanding his world. And that's why PJ, that's me, does what he does. Oh, now let me see what my friends have written me because someone's been writing. Ah, yes. You said, especially look at what JFK did. Oh, yes. Ah, thank you. JFK. Yes, I know what JFK did. He did many things. But what specifically are you talking about? He did many things. He did many things. Malcolm X always warned us. Yes, he did. Yes, the group lets you know that they are not with you, and the other comes to you. That's right, with the illusion being your friend while making policies that harms your community. I was in the car with a young man, and he let me listen to the voice of a nurse. Ooh, I went over an hour. I didn't mean to do that. The voice of a nurse that said she works in the hospital, and she said disease is all over the place, and she mentioned these diseases, and she's watching these people get this, and she says the pharmaceutical companies and the medical hospitals are doing it. She said as a nurse for 16 years she's never seen so many people die. And I remember when I went to the emergency, I saw those poor kids in the waiting room. They were suffering, and I felt like hollering out, someone help these kids. It is crazy. Yes, yes. All right, Mark Anthony. I want to thank I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I uh, I have a movie waiting on me in the living room, and the kind of movies that I like to watch are horror movies, and we like to do things like this. We like to turn out the lights. We like to make sure that everything, that it's darkening out and everything you want because well you you darken it out because the show's gonna end soon and you want to shut down all this other stuff in the studio, shut it down. I don't need it on because I'm going to go and see. Ooh, see how light it is? Watch how dark it gets. I'm going to see me a movie. And I want to thank you for tuning in. Well, good for you, Mark. This weekend, you do that and bring that book over, and I'm going to try to read it, and or you can take me through some of the real good parts. Ah, let's see. Did I do it right? Yeah, I'm shutting it down. Thank you for coming to There It Is. Thank you for coming to PJ's, spending a little time. I didn't know I could do those effects in the studio. Oh, I'm cool and didn't even know it. One more hour. You've got to be kidding. All right, wait a minute. You know me. I have never been cowardice. You challenge me, and when you challenge me, I have to expand my mind. Huh. Mm. Let's go back to politics. Really doesn't make any difference who wins because they can't do anything unless they have already come to consensus with others around them and they are in total agreement. And so you're going to a meeting that should never be held. There we go. Let me help you. If Trump wins the presidency, what do you think? And I want you to think now. What do you think is going to be? Because this has been on my mind. What do you think the major difference in this country is going to be? Name the major difference if Trump wins. And then tell me the major difference the Democrats would make. Now, there's a reason that I'm not voting for Trump because what he's proposing that it almost sounds like this to me. You help me if I'm listening wrong. He's proposing to me and he's saying, if I don't win this time, I'm going to get my followers and the people that love me to really mess up this country in a way that if I can't have it, no, none of you can have it. Now, he sounds like that's what a man that wants power would do. Now, how could you stop him, Democrats? Seem like ain't nobody stop him. And then when he get in, he gonna do what he said he gonna do. What is the first thing the Democrats gonna do? Talking about you can't find no eggs and biscuit and bread in the stores. You wait till the Democrats win. You won't be able to find it because you won't be able to afford it. I'm kind of hoping that God takes me out with Tommy before all this nonsense starts. Because it's nonsense. It's nonsense. It's going to be an ugly world, people, because America's going to tear herself to pieces. Hmm. That's not even a problem. Listen to me. Our great grandparents were immigrants. They want to come over here because of what the name of our country stands for. That's why I used to love singing that song, God Bless America. the land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her with the light from the light far above. Now that got to be from God. From the mountains to the oceans, and I think to the valley and the shore. God bless America, the land I love. And I think a bunch of crazy people gonna tear this land to damn pieces, regardless of who wins that election. That's how mad we've gotten. And that's how far we've turned from God. Because we can't even love each other. Have you forgotten the dream? All right, I'm going to take it further than that. I never had the nice little toys every Christmas that little white Johnny and little white Joey got. If we got anything for Christmas, it was no more than one toy. My sister Donna's alive. She can tell you, my mom and daddy was poor. I didn't understand Christmas no how. I was brainwashed by my white school teacher to say, tell your daddy to make sure Santa Claus come to your house and that he get that tree. And that was a part of the colonization process. Why should I go home and worry my daddy? That's exactly what I did. And daddy went and got a tree. I remember my mama used to get a secondary job around Christmas time because I discovered when I became a teenager that's where all them toys and things came from. Oh, I came up in the hood. I don't know where y'all came up at, but that's what I remember about my life. Ooh, you really think so? No, Mark. They gonna come up here regardless because they hungry. You're not, see. You ain't thinking all the way through. They're hungry. Worst thing you can do is to let that person get a taste of what America is and then deport you back. See, man, when I grew up, America was a dream to a lot of people that came to this country. I remember they come over here and the man would say, whatever country you from, they translate. And he would say, I worked my whole life to come here just to have a little house and to work in a factory and to see my little baby smile. And I used to think as a kid, why he need to come over here and do that? I had no idea what freedom means. None. Man, when I think about it, I was literally stupid. Now, if you can't be hard on yourself now, when you think about something about you, now and you can't be truthful and tell yourself that, you're going to have problems because that's where you get better because you know where you were the worst. Well, that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm going to go in there and ask him, okay, wait a minute. Oh my God, Santa was a sadicus man. What the hell? What? No, no. I knew it was a fraud because we never had a chimney. And I told Daddy I saw him putting something in a box. So I kind of figured it out. My mommy told me not to tell the others because she liked to see the surprise on their face. That's why I've been a truth teller ever since. Ooh, I enjoy my life, man. My life is dream, a dream come true. All these years, all the people I met. See, and that's what, for you senior citizens, if you smoked a little sativa, it will take you there. Don't be smoking no crack. No, it'll take you elsewhere. See, that's why some of these people OD and everything. I don't know where they're trying to go in their mind. I just tried to go to the place called Love, buy a ticket to that, and stay there for an eternity. With those words, I'll say goodnight because now I'm getting tired. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.